Republic of Korea and the Malaysians, but will they catch the Chinese? Also, the other Korean team have medalled in the past, fourth 4 years ago, but in the first of the synchronized competitions 14 years ago, they got a silver. So they're the ones to watch. But here are the favourites, Chen and Yang. Well, are we going to see some 10s over these 6 rounds? We've already seen 2 10s in the women's competition, but none from the men at the moment. But it's going to be hard to fault this pair. Forward dive in the open pike position, great jump off the platform, beautiful open pike position, looking at the water from 9 meters, then 7 meters, lining up at 5 meters, locking out and just drilling the entry, disappearing. And we have the first 10 in the men's competition on the very first dive in this men's platform synchro competition. Is there more to come? And they've got a massive 56.40 on their first dive. Well, that's enough to put you off, but will it? So the first divers for Democratic Republic of Korea. Different dive, back dive in the pike position. You wouldn't want to follow that forward dive, would you? Good effort for them. Holding the pike position just a little too long. There's the jump, very strong jump, confident off the platform. There's the line-up, lining up at just slightly different times. But you can see a difference of the entry. The Chinese disappeared, but there's a little bit of splash been thrown up. So the first scores that come up are for the execution, and they're pretty good. 8s through to 9s. Synchronization, not too bad, but it's under that 50 points. Remember, the Chinese team went 56 points, and this Korean team, 48. Thailand. So following with the same dive, back dive pike. Conrad and Tippy Poom. So better the dives from Conrad, diving furthest away from the screen. Tippy Poom drops the dive slightly short of vertical, so his individual score's a bit lower. So there's the pike, and you can see the leg's not really locked out, and very short on entry. Big splash thrown up to about 3 meters. That's an interesting shot from behind the diving pool. And there's the roll under the water. So this will be the lowest score so far, and it is just about breaking 40 points. Koreans, current silver medalists. Same dive as the Chinese team, forward dive in the pike position. Oh, another brilliant entry from both of them. There you can see the synchronization, not too bad there, just slightly out of line with the open position. And it was Youngnan Kim lining up here just earlier on the right-hand side. Still a good entry, roll underwater. Where they've gone over the 50 points, that is the marker, that's the score that the divers tried to get. Not to allow the Chinese to run away with the competition too early on. So it's welcome back to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Didn't see them 4 years ago. Finished 6th back in 2010. Shinan with his back really taped up. And counting in for the back dive. Yeah, good effort, well done. So we don't see the team very often in competition. Very confident there. Just a little bit more flexibility needed in the pike just to close it off. They're lining up correctly though. Holding here, around the side, locking out. Just a small gap between the arms and the ears. This could be locked out a fraction more. 43 points. So that's an average score for their first round. Joshua James Chong, Jonathan Fang Ken Chan. There's Jonathan. Arm heavily taped up. Well, a little too slow in the rotation. Tried to hold the pike. Didn't get legs up, and that's a miss for the team. So lowest score so far hasn't gone under 40 points. You don't want to do that on your first dive. It's such a simple dive, but it is hard to get it right. If you don't get the rotation, you have to hold your pike for a long time. It's very difficult. Possibly could have scooped underwater. That made a difference. Lucky though, it stays above 40. Indonesia. Adrian, Dicho, Restu, Putra. Wow, so springy off the platform. Well, the crowd liked it, but the judges will see they're dropping slightly short of vertical. Good off the platform, but here you can just see the feet are down fraction. Need to pull it around. That's a real pity. Looks good in the air, but still the push down of the legs and not reaching back hard enough. But it's an advantage being in front of the home crowd. Let's push the scores up a little bit. 45.60, so mid-40s for the Indonesians. Malaysia, bronze medal 4 years ago. Disappointed not to get into that silver. Oh, looking good though. Jaslyn and Jay. Shura. Another back dive. That's an entry like the Chinese, wasn't it? No splash spin thrown up at all. Again, confident, good timing, excellent pike. The legs coming apart. I think that's in there. Good entry though. Nice, nice. And they nearly break that 50 point. 49.20. Malaysia are started well. So standings after the first round, and what a surprise. China, but they haven't got it all their own way. Republic of Korea right there, 51 points, and Malaysia have done well. Thailand and Singapore back on joint 7th. So one more round of easy dives to go. The Olympic champions, Chen Asen and Gang Shu, two-time Olympic champion. His gold was China's first individual 10-meter gold since Athens in 2004. David Badai of the USA kept the gold for USA, and China had to settle for the silver. Yang is pretty good too up there. Well, they got a 10 in the first round, and they had to earn it as well. So 3 10s for the Chinese, 2 for the women. And again, it's so hard to fault them. Open pike. It's just a little out of line with the arm position. Blocking out at 5 meters. Finish off with a flat hand at 3 meters, dragging the water down as they hit at 35 miles an hour. Well, we have 2 more 10s That makes it 5 across the 4 competitions and 3 for the men. It only gets better. So already on 114 points, the Chinese. 48 points though for this Korean team. Something different, a reverse dive, a pike. Synchronization spot on. Now, a lot of the divers have a tendency to lean forward on the reverse. Not here, though. Good balance, swing through. That's excellent start. Touching. I love the way they just hold. Just a little bit different on the reach back. Having to put a knee save on the end. Synchronization scores are very good. 91.90. So that just drags them down a little bit. Thailand currently on 40, so got into the top there with their 40 points. Inward dive in the pike position. Threw down, too much rotation, and couldn't hold the entry at all. It's important that you get the first jump up and you don't throw with your arms. As soon as you see the throw, that's what you do for a somersault. And both flying through the air, maybe that's just too much adrenaline. And not that experienced up there. So this will be the lowest score, and it is 73.20. Don't break 40 points on the individual dive. The Koreans had a brilliant first round, 51 points, Kim and Woo. Yeah, back 1.5 with half twist. It's such a beautiful dive to be done, especially up there on the 10-meter. There's a half twist, there's the pike, and at 8 meters, you're looking over the top of your toes. 5 meters, you're getting the spot, and then there's no chance of missing this entry. Just floating around, and a little roll underneath, keeps the legs in a vertical position. 99 points. 49 points for the individual. I thought it was better than that. But the smiles there, are happy with their second dive. So another reverse dive in the pike position. 43.20, not too bad for their back dive. So Vanapur closest to us, just a little bit short of vertical. Coach scratching his head thinking, oh, what did I tell him about that? Again, strong jump like that. Finished at 9 meters. And Vanapur just here on the right needs to get that reach back a little bit more. Already dropping short. More reach back, more reach back. And just doesn't work for him. Still not too much splash been thrown up. 84.60. So at the moment, they're ahead of Thailand, but they're behind the Korean teams. Singapore. Back dive pike. Synchronization is out. See, one close to the board, one back a long way. So 5 judges will be marking that down. Let's have a look at the individual dive. Well, technique is very good from the Singaporeans. But clearly, it's a huge distance. It must be at least a metre, metre and a quarter distance from each of them. That's the major mistake there. And it's going to keep their score suppressed, 81.60. So the popular team, not the favourite to win the gold medal, but the popular team, home crowd, were pleased with the first dive, 45.60. That was their back dive now for their reverse dive. They're looking very strong, very confident. That's the way to attack the start. Great jump off the platform. And you can tell their reaction on the water when they're pleased. Beautiful pike, holding here. Now you see the reach back. They're in control. Good lockout. Just a small arch in the back going through the water. Now we can hear some H from the judges. So 45, they got the first dive. This is better, 46.80 for a total of 91.8. That's put them in pretty good stead. There's only 3 teams on 90 points at the moment, and one team over 100. Now the Malaysians, third highest score in the first round. Same dive. Yeah, it's good. No problem with the entry there. Didn't need to pull hard on the end. Everything was going right. It's a nice, comfortable feeling when you get this reach and you know your legs aren't swinging up. You can just wait there, looking back, seeing the spot, and then nailing the entry. That's one of the best reverse dives we've seen. Always in control. So they were in third place after the first round. They're now on 99.60. Does that move them into second spot? China, of course, are in the top spot because they're already over 100 points, 114. That has the positions changed. Malaysia were in third. And they've moved up into second place ahead of the Korean team, but only by 0.6. And look at that, the Indonesian are on 91.80. They're within reach of a medal, and that would be an amazing result to do in front of your home crowd. Other Korean team have dropped back. So that's the easy dives, the required dives out of the way, the first 2 rounds of 2.0, and now we're going to hit the big dives. The Chinese team, 3.4, 3.6, 3.7, and a 3.6. And that degree of difficulty isn't matched by anybody. First, though, a reverse, 3.5 somersaults. Well, it's not the best reverse, 3.5 we've seen. And all the way down, the crowd were wooing. And they make it look so easy. They're still clapping as well. So, important to get away from the board. Just a little close there. Good strong kick out. But they didn't disappear on the end. Already have 3 10s. I have to say that isn't a 10. But what a DD, 3.4. It's going to be a massive score. And it is already over 200 points. And we've only had 3 dives from the Chinese. No 10s though, but lots and lots of 9s. So second team up, already on 91.90. Forward 3.5 somersaults pike. Oh, lovely entry. Do like the start though. You can tell how the dive's going to do it just by the start. Upright here, no bend forward, and the first somersault goes up. Double somersault at pooled level, triple somersault at 7.5 metre, flying around after the triple. What a throw, good pike, but there, locking out. Maybe a little arch in the back going through, but I'm being picky at this point. Just that little arch from both of them going through water. Keeps them down on 1-5-3. Same dive from Taiwan. Better at the dive from Conrad, diving furthest away from us. With the boom, mask in. Not enough throw here on the right-hand side. It's a slow spin, can't catch up, and drops very short of vertical. So his score's going to be lower. Slight bend in the knees as well. Conrad just maybe hitting the water a fraction ahead of his teammate. So 130.80 from below the Korean team. Another big dive coming up now. The Republic of Korea in with 3.5. 3.2 degree of difficulty. 0.2 behind China on their degree of difficulty. Currently on 99 points. So almost matching the Malaysian. Yeah, it's good. Did see a slight movement on the entry, but it's good. Almost acted as a springboard. Yeah, double at about 9 meters, triple, and they're piking out about 4.5 meters. Just both of them just looking slightly under at the entry, just causing the feet to go over a fraction. But 171, that's a good score for their first of the option scores. Nasaport and Radaport. Pretty good in the first 2 rounds, 84 points, 3.5 pike. Yeah, it's good as well. So their first opener in the 3.5 pike. You can't get much reaction from the coach though. Thought I'd see a little bit of a smile there. Strong throw. Good pike at this point. Just a small gap between the face and the shins. Not a lot though. The entry was vertical, but not getting the flat hand, not drawing that splash down. So that will just keep them down on the 7s, and it does. But it was good technique. 144 points. Singapore following the same dive. Jonathan counting it. Well, Chong messed up the entry there. Did he slip in the pike or just hesitated coming out? So just diving furthest away. At this point, okay, just head up. You need to pull that chin forwards. Yeah, so he saw the water late and then kicked over. Just needed to pull the head forward into the pike position. You spot the water earlier. Yeah, he said, I missed my hands as well. I want to do that in this final. Indonesia, 91 points. And another forward 3.5 somersaults pike. So Adrian furthest away. Lucha closest to us. Oh, they made it look so easy. Floated around at 5 meters and nailed the entry. Lots of smiles from the crowd. And they're putting a great show. Well, there, double at board level, spinning really fast, nailing their entry. Yes, it could be a little less splashy. But they're doing it really well. Indonesia never medalled in this competition. Wow, wouldn't that be a turn up for the books? 160.20. At the moment, they're in third place. But of course, got the Malaysians still to go. Of course, we're 8 points ahead of them. In with 2.5 somersaults pike, 0.2 degrees less than the Indonesians, but 8-point lead over them. That looked like javelin, slightly short of vertical. Good dive until he just lifts his head out and pops a lightly short on his entry. So, good pike. Synchronisation, well, you can see javelin out too early from the pike. Just needs to stay in there longer here on the left-hand side, short of vertical. But he did the right thing underwater. He changed his direction, scoops, tried to bring the legs up. Well, lost 6 points on that. They are now 0.2, no, yeah, 0.2, no, 0.12 points behind the Indonesians. That's amazing. So Indonesia flip-flop over the top of the Malaysians. They're in third place at the moment, and that's why the crowd are going absolutely crazy. Well, that's a turn up for the books, but don't forget, we're only halfway through the competition. 3 more rounds of optionals to go. And the crowd now are really cheering on, clapping, cheering. Some are stamping their feet. That's a great show for them. But now back to the seriousness. We have round 4. China, incredibly difficult. Their second most difficult dive, 3.6. This is a back 3.5. It's not in the tuck, it's in the pike position. Again, 3.6 made to look so easy. It could be a 2.6, couldn't it? I think it was the Germans that first introduced this dive. Sasha Klein from Europe, Germany. Beautiful pike. Well, just slightly over there on the entry. But already have a huge score. This is going to get them close to 300 points. They're already on 203. And it is 289 points. So that is 86 points on that single dive alone. Okay, currently at 153. Democratic People's Republic of Korea. 3.2 on their easiest optionals. Wow, they're not faced at all by the Chinese. Yeah, coach is there, agreeing. Strong throw, very neat tuck. The rate of spin the same as each other. Look at that, lining up in exactly the same line. I'm looking at the line on the bottom of the pool, and they were the exact distance as each other. 229.74. 75 points for that dive. So a good second round optional for them. Thailand. Back 2.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists, another 3.2. Currently 23 points behind the Koreans. Well, synchronization completely out. And Markson over twists on the end, and the coach is shaking his head. It's very important at the start here, you get the jump up And Marksin jumps off to the side, and then the rotation or the twist continues because you're not square to the board. The head's thrown back at the start, hits the wall to first. So very poor technique from him. So under 60 points for the individual dive, 58, and that brings them to 189. Koreans currently in second. Reverse 3.5 somersaults. Pulled the dive around nicely. I thought both of them were going to drop short. We just waited a split second longer in that triple before kicking the feet up with the right reaction. But look at this, strong bend in the knees, massive jump in the air, quickly into tuck, double here, triple, spot, kick, yeah, just a fraction early, able to pull the dive around. 75 points for the individual score, and that gives them 247.44. So they're ahead of the Koreans by about 18 points as well. Islamic Republic of Iran. Well, that's a different way to do the twist. 2.5 somersaults, one twist. We see most divers start the somersault first, come out on 1.5 and then into the twist. But here we see the twist straight away, and then you have to be very strong to pull forward. They performed that really well. There, twist, pull forward, hard to get into that deep pipe. What synchronization though. They're spot on with that, just a little low finishing. That's a hard way to do it, but they break 200 points. Three divers to go. And the first up are the Singapores. First time in this competition. Currently on 136. So just ahead of Thailand at the moment. Inward 3.5 somersaults. Shame Jonathan just fell out of it. I think Chong also dropped short. Hard to see. Pong scratching the back of his head, thinking back to the drawing board on that. But I think it's just on the entry. Good spin here, knees apart to increase the rotation. Come around for the triple. Jonathan way out too early and synchronising the shortness also Chong. That's a miss for Singapore. And they're below 200 points. Indonesia. Oh, an amazing 3 rounds for Indonesia. They're currently sitting in 3rd place. Who would have thought that? And they've got a 3.2. So can they maintain it? Inward 3.5s. Adrian just nailed the dive, but Putra seemed to hesitate on the hour. Can't see whether he just slightly bent his legs. Diving closest to us, coming around on the triple. What happens here? Yeah, just sort of holds the knees there, just a little too long in a slight crump position. Adrian really good in with 3.5. So 2-3-1, that's a good score. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divers, 5 teams over 200 points. So will that be enough to keep them ahead of the Malaysians? Big miss. Surya missed his out. Oh, did he slip or? So here, everything's fine at this point. I just stayed in the pike way too long, jabbing out the right time. He needs to start coming out now. He's left it in the pike and kicks way over. Well, that's a good result there for Indonesia. Oh, just 5.5, 208. That's a massive miss for the Malaysian team. And here we are, the standings after 4 rounds. Indonesia are not only in 3rd place, but they're slightly ahead of the Korean team. But they have the Republic of Korea have a 16-point lead over Indonesia. Still a lot to fight for. We have 2 rounds still to go. And we have the most difficult dive in the competition coming up in this 5th round. That's a front 4.5 somersaults. It's been performed by both the Chinese and the Democratic People's Republic of China. But first, it's the Chinese. Currently on 289. Well, I finished really low to the water, but the experience shows for the Olympic champions and the world champion. Throw, knees apart, increases rotation, piking out. So piking out actually about 4 meters above the water. That is low for a 4.5. Coming around though, do sight the water, and you can see the punch comes just in time. For 378. It's nearly 90 points on just 1 dive. And that was a miss for them as well. That same dive. Well, it's pretty much as good as the Chinese. Hyong diving furthest away from us. And an incredible sound to his entry. 1 somersault, 2 somersaults, 3 somersaults, flat feet from rim, needs to get pointed toes. But we'll forget about that because you nailed the entry. Look how fast it is, even in slow motion. They're spinning super fast. And you can see the joy from the coaches. What a reaction from them as well. 316 already in the 300s. So Thailand, slightly down on the degree of difficulty, reverse 2.5. Wow, it looked like Mark Singh was very, very slow on his somersault. Conrad with a faster of the 2 spins. Yeah, very slow. And Mark Singh had to squeeze that tuck, hold on longer before kicking out. So the synchronization slightly off. Conrad being a little easier with the spin. So so that's 2-4-3. And the coach is saying about the entry. Another big one. So currently in 2nd place, 3.6, back 3.5. They nailed it as well. They're very accurate on their kickouts. Mind you, this is the right pool to do it. It's well lit. We've got the spray on the bottom. And here, sighting the board, sighting the water, then reaching back, always in control. Beautiful knee save going through the water too, so saving the entry there. Going quite deep. 3-3-1. So that's ahead of the Korean team, the other Korean team. Up by some 15 points as well. So Iran in with 3.5. Valapur, no spring off a jump, very slow spin. Valapur shaking his head under the water. Yeah, just seeing here the throw down off the board, so the dives finish very low. The very first somersault needs to travel up, double somersault, but they're only at 8 meters and dropping like a stone. And very last, hard to come out of that in with 3.5. Slight miss there. 2-6-3-46. So any chance of medal slipping away. So individual score 58 brings them to 2-6-3. So Singapore really struggling, still under 200 points. And this their lowest degree of difficulty of their 4 optional dives. Reverse 2.5 somersaults. It carries 2.8. It's in the tuck position. Oh, that is so painful. Chong kicks out late, goes over and slaps right across the top of his legs. And Johnson jumping out too far. But here you see the late kick out and almost over to a belly flop. But I can tell you that really stings. He's going to have bruises tomorrow. But more of the bruising is in the embarrassment. You just don't want to do that. So painful. Right down on 2.5, 2 for the individual execution. And he's just saying, it was way over. Indonesia. Indonesia. Fantastic competition so far. Well, it wasn't the cleanest of entries, but that doesn't matter to the crowd. They loved it anyway. Like the strong jump, there's the 1.5 twist. Pull forward, synchronization not too bad at this point. Yeah, just struggling to get the lock out on the end. To this point, it's good. Very strong here on the pull forward, but just there, grabbing the hands, but not getting the arms by the ears to drag that water down with them. But still gone over 300 points. Malaysia, 407C. A very big dive for Malaysia. Drop back on their 4th round dive. Excellent entry there. But feet fluttering around. Let's see which diver it was. Yeah, good at this point. Just slightly different rate of spin. Oh, that was Javelin on the right, just loses his legs a little bit. Actually, he went from a tuck to a straddle to a pike. I don't think that is in the rules, but because the judges are sitting side on, they might have missed it. But it is a miss, still under 300, 283.56. Well, after 5 rounds, 1 round to go, Indonesia just dropped back a little bit. So at the moment, it's the two Korean teams in silver and bronze medal. A massive, massive lead for Chen and Yang. Olympic champion and the world champion have got such a huge lead over everybody else. So it's now a bum fight for the bronze and silver medals. Unless, of course, the Chinese are to slip up. But that's highly unlikely. And here they come out for their final dive. And it's another big one. A back 2.5 somersaults, 2.5 twists, 3.6. Slightly easier than a 4.5. But surely this is the dive for China's 4th gold medal of this competition. Well, again, just slightly missing the entry. And the judge is shrugging, the coach is shrugging the shoulders there, saying, what's happened there? But it doesn't matter. It's actually huge lead. Brilliant twist position, no wobbling. But there, unusual to see a splash. But on the way to an unofficial gold, still at this point, they scored 3 10s. And a 4.66.47 is a huge score. I wonder mathematically if it could be matched by any diver, even if they get 10s. First up, Hong and Rim. Dropped back slightly, currently on 316 points. Wow, that's the best dive that they've done, competition. A few screens been shouted out from their supporters. Slightly lower on degree of difficulty, 3.2. It's just 1.5 twist. Performed really well though. Where's the 1.5? Into the pike. Very tight pike too. Finishing at about 4 meters up. No problem with the entry. And they get that tearing rip sound as they go through the water. Great lookout. There's the roll. But have they left it too late? That's a score to look at, 395.04. You may need to get 400s for a medal. We're going to have to sit tight for another 6 divers to complete their dives. First up is Thailand. A reasonable show. Another 2.8 for them, with 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. Just thrown down off the diving board, didn't get the pop up in the air, and so the first somersault wasn't above the board like it should be, so thrown down, finishing the first somersault about 9 meters and just struggling to get around, because at that point you really start to accelerate. So 1 roll, 1 scoop underwater, 2.9184. But again, it's been a great experience for this reasonably new pair of divers.
Korea, 109C.
So currently in a good position on 3.31, Kim and Wu. A 4.5. Oh, it's just sloppy on the end, very fast spin. You see a splash thrown up on the end. That could determine the individual scores. Let's have a look at the synchronization. Yeah, very good at this point. Excellent rotation round, both looking good there. But, splash been thrown up by the shoulders, but it's a 3.7. So 4.06.05. So it goes ahead of the other Korean team. Is that good enough for a medal? So silver 4 years ago. Could it be silver this time around? Final dives here, in with 2.5 somersaults, pike position. 2.6346. Both got the vertical entry, but again, not getting that jump up in the air. So finishing low to the water. But once they're in the dive, good tight pikes, hugging the back of the legs, that is good. But the synchronization slightly out. Have support just throwing down a little too hard. 318. So no medals today. But good to see them back after an 8-year miss in this competition. So Chan and Chong. Final dive, back 2.5, 1.5 twist, 3.2. So out to the run for the medals at the moment. Wow, such a springy jump, but not enough rotation. It's a miss. Yeah, Chong here on the right-hand side just didn't get the swing through with the arms, didn't go up, and then you see that bomb on the entry. Very hard to get into a tight pike, and also Jonathan Chan well shot on his entry as well. 291, not breaking the 300. But Indonesia, the darling of the crowd, have put on such an amazing show. At the moment, 395. They need to get ahead of the Korean team. Oh, double twisting, 2.5, and performing the 2 twist first. Again, a hard way to do this. It takes so much strength to go from the double twist to pull into the pike. Here you go, the throw, into the twist, 1, 2, then pull forward, and just the distance out a little bit. So a metre distance, just legs slightly crossed over, wobbly in the pike, but using that bare strength to go from the twist into the somersault. That was a great effort in the dive. 372. Ah, such a shame. That puts them 23 points out of bronze medal position. But they've done really well and kept the crowd entertained. But the final divers of this competition is Malaysia. Currently on 283. And really have left it too late. Not consistent enough. Final dive, back twister. Oh, there's a good dive to finish as well. So they knew mathematically nearly impossible to get a medal after missing in the previous rounds, but a good final dive. Back 2.5, 1.5 twist. No problem with the twist there. Strong pull in the pike, lucking out on the end for one of their best dives, but it's not going to be enough. So 356.52 keeps the previous bronze medalist from Malaysia out of the medals 4 years on. But here comes the official results, and again, it is China with a massive 466.47, getting very close. But for the Republic of Korea, an amazing result for them. Silver medal 4 years ago, and they pick up another silver medal here 4 years on, and they did it in style. 406, the only other team to go over 400 points, and the Democratic Korean team in third place, 395, very close, and that is another medal they picked up in this competition. But China, on the way to their 4th gold, score 3 10s on the first 3 rounds to beat the Chinese girls who actually got 2 10s in previous competitions. So 5 10s across the 4 competitions for the Chinese teams. And this is the end of the team competition over these 2 days. We now have 6 more diving competitions coming up. All the individuals covering the men and the women on the 1 metre and the 3 metre, as well as the individual platform. But it's gold yet again to the Olympic champion and the world champion. What a pair they've been. Chen and Yang win in style, win with 10 gold with the 10s to go on to their gold medal with that huge score. And you have to get that limbered up before you go. There's the first of the 4.5s, massive 3.7, and all the groups are being used into the twists. But it's Kim and Wu for silver medals, Hong and Rim for the bronze medals, Chen and Yang of China for the gold medals. Since its inception, the synchro competitions have been popular, and they're the Chinese making some of the hardest dives look really easy. From reverse 3.5s to front 4.5s until their final dives, that back 2.5 with 2.5 twists, which sealed their 4th gold medal of these championships, which makes it 74 golds for China in 74 competitions. They've won every single gold medal since 1970. So hope you'll stay with us. Very shortly we will be having the medal ceremony for the women's 3 metre synchro competition. That'll come up first, and then we will go to the finals of the men's 10 metre synchro competition. Chris Snowden, I hope you've enjoyed a near perfect competition from those Chinese divers, both in the women's and the men's.
AS Play รวมความบันเทิงคุณภาพเปิดความสนุกทุกที่ทุกเวลา
ส่งต่อความมั่นใจสู้ไปด้วยกันนะครับ